Virginia politics is in turmoil as Democratic Attorney General candidate Jay Jones faces backlash over leaked private text messages. The messages, in which Jones fantasized about the murder of a former Republican leader, have cast a dark shadow over his campaign. For a would-be top law enforcement official, such language is deeply troubling and has ignited a debate about political accountability and party loyalty. The scandal has become a national conversation, with both parties' responses under intense scrutiny. How Democrats handle this crisis will shape not only Jones's future, but also the party's reputation in Virginia and beyond. This controversy forces us to confront what we expect from our leaders, and what consequences are appropriate when they fall short. The controversy erupted suddenly, sending shockwaves through the political landscape and catching both supporters and opponents off guard. It all began when Jay Jones's private texts, which revealed violent fantasies about a Republican rival, were leaked to the public, sparking immediate outrage and disbelief. The explicit and unsettling nature of these messages left voters stunned, instantly shifting the campaign's focus away from policy debates and onto questions of personal character and judgment. News outlets and social media platforms quickly amplified the scandal, dissecting every detail and forcing Jones's campaign into frantic damage control as the story dominated headlines. In response, Jones issued a public apology, attempting to express remorse, but critics argued that his words fell short and were inadequate for someone seeking to enforce the law and represent the public. Sensing an opportunity, Republicans seized the moment, not only questioning Jones's fitness for office, but also casting doubt on the Democratic Party's overall judgment and values. The scandal serves as a stark reminder of the risks that come with digital communication. For public figures, private words, once exposed, can instantly become public liabilities and reshape entire campaigns. Now the central question lingers: can a simple apology truly erase violent rhetoric, or does it expose something far deeper and more troubling about the candidate's true character and intentions? Top Democrats have largely defended Jay Jones, rallying around him in the face of mounting criticism and intense media scrutiny. They argue that Republicans aren't held to the same standard for inflammatory rhetoric, pointing to past controversies where GOP figures faced less backlash for similar remarks. Virginia House Speaker Don Scott and Senate President L. Louise Lucas both stood by Jones, framing the outrage as politically motivated and part of a broader pattern of partisan attacks. National leaders like Hakeem Jeffries suggested Jones's apology was enough, signaling a strategy of containment and emphasizing the importance of moving forward as a party. Still, not all Democrats agree. Representative Abigail Spanberger openly condemned Jones's comments, calling them unacceptable, but ultimately left the decision about his future to the voters. The party's approach is a calculated gamble: defend their candidate, shift focus to what they see as partisan double standards, and hope the base remains loyal as the election approaches. But this strategy risks appearing unwilling to hold their own accountable, potentially eroding public trust and fueling cynicism among undecided voters. The Democratic response reveals the ongoing tension between party unity and principle, especially in the high-stakes environment of a closely watched election year. History shows both parties have struggled with scandal, sometimes defending embattled members, sometimes taking decisive action. Democrats stood by Bill Clinton during impeachment, but pressured William Jefferson to resign after a bribery scandal. Republicans forced out Mark Foley and Larry Craig after misconduct, but critics say the party is now less willing to police its own. Both sides accuse each other of double standards, using past scandals as ammunition. This selective outrage fuels cynicism and deepens partisan divides. The Jay Jones case is the latest example of parties weighing loyalty against accountability. It raises the question: are calls for resignation about principle, or just partisan warfare? Why do parties defend their own, even in the face of scandal? What compels leaders and supporters to stand by embattled figures, even when the evidence seems overwhelming? Loyalty, political calculation, and the ever-present fear of losing power drive these decisions. For many, the stakes feel too high to risk internal division, so the instinct is to close ranks and protect their own. Pointing to the other side's misdeeds muddies the waters, reframing scandals as partisan attacks, rather than genuine questions of character or ethics. This tactic shifts the conversation away from accountability and toward a never-ending blame game. While this strategy may energize the party's base and keep supporters loyal, it comes at a cost. It erodes public trust, deepens cynicism, and reinforces the belief that politicians aren't held to the same standards as everyone else. When accountability takes a backseat to party unity, democracy itself suffers. The institutions meant to serve the people become weaker and the public's faith in fair governance is shaken. The J. Jones scandal forces us to confront a difficult question. Should parties police their own, even at great political cost, or should they leave judgment entirely to voters at the ballot box? Ultimately, it's a test of what we value more as a society: partisan victory, or the principles of honesty and leadership that democracy depends on. The choices made now will echo for years to come, shaping the kind of democracy we live in and the standards we expect from those in power.